All right, well, welcome to another edition of Tactical Thursday. And apparently this is something that's best served on a Friday. But we're going through this. We're going to go over a couple different things that we went over in training yesterday, and hopefully just kind of get a little bit of a reinforcer or a little bit of a reminder, or maybe a little bit clarification of what we're doing and why. So yesterday we were really focusing on our organization, both in attack and in defending. Attacking wise, we were speaking about trying to connect behind and still having a focus of doing that, but doing that through a process of up-back-thru and kind of working on that a little bit. And then defensively, our focus was going to be focusing on working in yellow, as we call it, so in a zone type of situation. All right, so we started off with a couple different things, but let's just jump into our rondo and kind of explain what and why. So if we kind of take a look at this side over here, we've got a 4v2 plus 2, and this is the rondo we kind of played yesterday. And the objective was for the blue team in this area to try and get the ball to the blue team here, and when that would happen, then 2 would come across, and the 2 defenders would come across as well, creating down here what's up here right now. So that's that 4v2. And what we did was, since we were focusing on trying to talk about being in yellow, we really wanted these defenders to focus on trying to defend this line, keeping the ball in front and don't let the ball in behind. So that was our objective, and to do that, you've got to be really good with communication, and you've got to work with each other. So meaning that wherever position the closest defender to the ball takes, the second player's got to work off of that. So the easiest way for us to do that is to make sure that one is getting in front, denying the ball going forward, and then forcing it one way, and then we want to try and get pressure on the ball when we're outnumbered. So those are kind of the 3 things we talk about a lot defensively. When we get into green, the first thing is deny forward, then we want to get pressure on the ball, then we want to force one way. So and when you get into yellow, we just flip-flop those other 2. Because why? Because now we're in zone. While in green, when we're going man to man, so that's a little bit more of a high press situation. So in this scenario, what we were doing today or yesterday, we were talking about being in yellow. So it was really about these 2 players defending that line. Really important to keep it from going across. We didn't need to necessarily step up. If we step up and get into this type of situation, it's pretty easy for them to play around you. But we really wanted to see yesterday was putting these 2 players having to defend the line, and then offensively, how does that change what we're doing? Is now you really kind of brings in up-back-thru. So this is why we kind of married these 2 concepts together. Is if the blue team gets into a diamond, it's a little bit easier for us to play up-back-thru. It's usually kind of the easier solve. Why? Because when the ball gets played into the target, you're going to get usually you're going to get the pressure from both sides, and then we can go back, and then they can play it across. So that's why we kind of set up this organization this way. And when we talk about up-back-thru, it's really about manipulating these 2 players to then exploit the space after we play out of that. So what do I mean? I mean by when the ball gets played into this target, what usually ends up happening, either one or both are going to actually try and put pressure on the ball, and then we want to exploit that space in which they just came from. So if we're kind of in this scenario, ball gets played here, this player's kind of tight, this player's a little tight here. Again, they're trying to defend the line because we're in yellow. If that ball gets swung back, all right, they're probably going to get a little bit more neutral. That ball gets played over here. You probably have a little bit more pressure coming from this side and trying to deny the ball here. And, as we talk about when we play rondos, level 1 passes, level 2 passes, and level 3. So we're trying to break this line here to play a level 3 into the target here. Why? Because that's usually going to exploit space, because the player is going to come in, and then we exploit that space by playing back and then playing through. And it's basically just taking advantage of this player moving out of position as that ball gets played in here. And as that player moves in to put the pressure on it, we take advantage of it by playing it back and then playing it 1 touch through. All right? So trying to play a level 3 pass in here to split the defenders, and then it ends up being a drop pass here, forcing this player now to try and get over fast enough before she can play it down the end line. So this is why we kind of played this game, and why these two concepts we tried to marry together, because they kind of fed off each other. They kind of play off one way or the other. So that was the 4v2 plus 2 rondo. So again, it's about attacking and defensive organization. Attacking wise, you want to try and get into a diamond to try to exploit the spaces best. Defensive organization was really difficult because we're numbers down, but we tried to do that on purpose so they would have to work in that yellow phase playing in zone. The next kind of progression, we went to a 5v2 plus 1v1. So you can kind of see 5v2 in here. This is the ball. 2 defenders, 1 defender here, or ball recoverers if you want to call them. And then we had teams of 3. So we had 3 teams of 3. And in this scenario, the yellow team is the team trying to recover the ball. And we were still trying to work on this concept and this concept at the same time. So again, we're talking about defending this line. So pretty much the same setup. What you want to do is try and make these 2 players have to mark 3. Or you want to spread them apart attacking wise. How can we manipulate these 2 players to get what we want? All right, so maybe we're swinging the ball here and they slide over, and then maybe we play it in here. If this player comes in tight, then you want to get this player kind of halfway. If she can go forward, great. If she can't, maybe we're going back here, and now maybe we're playing into the target. And what our instructions were is we wanted to try and get a pass very close to this line first, then going back before we could get it across. Okay, why did we put that restriction in? We put that restriction in to try and create this up-back-through scenario. Okay, so what we were trying to do is we had to make these 5. Well, maybe it's just easy, right? Just play the ball here when we play it across. Well, maybe so, but we want to work, these 5 are working to manipulate these 2. We got to try to move these guys into positions that are going to help us. Can we get them out of the way? Can we get them into spaces where we want them? And once we get them into that space where we want them, kind of like this, we play it into that target. Maybe it's really tight in here. Then it's going to be the scenario we had here. Maybe that's that play back, either to here, or maybe playing it back into here, or maybe even dropping it across here to her right foot, but sucking them in and then exploiting the spaces that they left. Ball's here. We get pressure. Ball gets played back. She's probably got to slide over a little bit then. Then she's sliding over because she doesn't know which way she's going. This player always trying to get halfway. This player trying to get really wide. This player trying to stretch them really wide. Maybe we play it back in here again. Exploit this player. She comes over to put pressure. Maybe we can get it here then. And then maybe we can go back and through. All right. But like I said, what we were trying to do is trying to make sure that we get that first pass in here, and then making sure, trying to exploit one of those players putting pressure on the ball, or maybe even both of them, and playing it quickly out of that space to get it into this space. So we played it, ball in here, ball gets played back. Maybe this player now is making her run, and now we read this. As this player has the ball, she knows she's going to play it through. Now we're going to read this player here. Is this player like overplaying here? If she is, then maybe that's the time for that run for that ball. Okay. Maybe this player is just kind of, well, I don't know where she's going. And then this person's really got a flash to make this player make a decision. So it's almost like a face cut run. You're making a run here and making this player make a choice. All right. If we get really wide apart, it's harder for that one player to cover both. All right. If we're lazy kind of here, if we're late, or if this person's late making a run forward, maybe that pass isn't on now. And maybe that's the time to go back out and around in here and play it through again. Then we get it wide, the ball gets played in here, she's gonna slide, she slides a little bit, this player gets into the touch, what's the longest pass we can play? Trying to get halfway, ball gets played in here, makes a choice, this person's gotta make a choice, can she get in front to keep them from going forward? That's really important, but if she does that, is she opening this player, then this player's gotta slide over. Then maybe we're manipulating them again, sliding. We see that passes on. She's got to slide to get in front tonight, going over. We get to halfway, bang, because this player's got to come across. Then we're going back, and then this player's making a run, making this person make a choice. You can kind of see all these little decisions, and this is why we play so many games small and tight. And we want to make So we want to make one or two more decisions than we made the last training session. And it's really important that we go through and we understand why and what we're doing and what we're trying to get out of it. So I know a lot of times it's a sheet and we go over what we want in the game and the little drill. And okay, we got to get this going. Then we go on to something else. We had a whole lot going on yesterday, I know. But hopefully a little refresher. Hopefully maybe it gives us a little bit better idea about what we were covering. And I can't wait. We're back out on the field tomorrow. We've got first fitness test, the beep test, intermittent recovery test tomorrow, and then our first match lab. So it's gonna be a day of playing. So looking forward to that. But anyway, hope you're well. Enjoy the weekend. Looking forward to some feedback. Take care. Bye bye.